Good morning, students. Hope you all are fit and fine and enjoying good health. I am Mohit Narula, your FM teacher. Today I have come up with one more video on chapter 3, financial statement analysis. So in this chapter we are going to cover basically the modes of analysis. But before discussing the modes of analysis, we must understand what actually financial statement and what are financial statement analysis. Financial statement and financial statement analysis are two different terms. When we talk about financial statement, they are associated with each other though. When we talk about financial statement, it means financial statements are those statements which are prepared to assess the financial position of the company. Financial statements can be trading account, it can be profit and loss account, and balance sheet also. From all the three accounts, that is trading account, P&L account and balance sheet, we can know the financial position of the company. Trading account shows the gross profits earned by the firm. Profit and loss account shows the net profits obtained by the firm, and obviously balance sheet depicts the financial strength of the company. Now, financial statement analysis. As I told you that these both are related to each other, though they are different terms, but they are related to each other. Financial statement tells us about the financial position of the company, whereas analysis of financial statement means going through those financial statements, reading those financial statements, analysis of those financial statement, how much we have, what is the strength of financial strength of our company last year in the first quarter, what is the financial strength of our company in the last quarter this year, and we can make, through analysis we can make comparison between where we were and where we are. Not only we can make comparison between our own within our own firm, we can also make comparison with other firms as well. Suppose there are two firms during the first quarter, what is the financial position of the firm A? During the first quarter, what is the financial position of firm B, financial position of firm C? So both these statements, financial statement and analysis of financial statement, are very important from examination point of view also, and from accountancy point of view also. But this analysis of financial statement are done by some specialized persons like chartered accountants, like company secretaries, ICWAs. These expert people can make analysis of financial statement. Now this is the mind map which I have prepared for you. Here first I have tried to show you modes of analysis. Then next we in this mind map I have shown you some classification of ratios. Now first of all we will discuss about modes of analysis. There are two modes of analysis. The first mode of analysis is simple interest and compound interest, while the second main mode is ratio analysis, which are further classified into various categories. But first of all, first of all discuss simple interest. Simple interest and compound interest are the interest which you have already studied in your earlier classes. In your life, you are studying simple interest right from your class, from your standard 8. Now, what is simple interest? Simple interest is the interest which is paid only on the principal amount borrowed. No interest is paid on the outstanding amount. Interest is paid only on the principal amount. As I have tried the formula, I hope you all students know the formula of simple interest. Principal into rate into time over 100. I try to make you understand with this very simple example. Mr. X borrowed a sum of rupees 10,000. He agreed to pay the amount in 8 months with an interest rate of 10%. So how will we calculate? By applying this very simple formula of simple interest, P into R into T over 100. Here 10,000 will become the principal amount. Okay, 10% will become the rate, and time is 8 months. Now this is not year, these are months. So then we will make 8 by 12. 4 2s are 8, 4 3s are 12, 2 by 3. So the equation becomes 10,000 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 2 by 3 divided by 100. Then next is compound interest. Compound interest is somewhat different from simple interest. It includes the interest which is also calculated on interest. Now the formula for calculating compound interest is, again I have shown you, principal 1 plus R here stands for rate, R over 100 raised to power n. Raised to power n means time. N here stands for time. Now the only thing which you need to remember between simple and compound interest is, in simple interest is paid only on the principal amount borrowed, whereas in compound interest is not only calculated on principal amount but also calculated on the interest which is calculated on the principal amount borrowed, and then we will add both of them. Again I have tried to explain you with the help of an example. If the amount of rupees 5,000 is invested for 2 years and interest rate is 10% compounded yearly. Now apply this formula P1 plus R over 100 over N. By applying this formula we will get the answer of rupees 500. Now the interest will not be charged only on 5,000. Interest will be charged on 5,000 plus 500, that is 5,500. So this thing you need to remember. You already have done these types of interest in your earlier classes also, but in this video I have tried to explain you with the help of an example. So formula for simple interest is P into R into T over 100, whereas formula for calculating compound interest is principal 1 plus R over 100 raised to power n. Here R stands for rate and n stands for period of time. Now next very important is time value of money. Now what is time value of money? The idea behind the time value of money is that rupee now is worth more than a rupee in future. This is a line which you need to underline, which you need to understand for understanding this concept of time value of money. Time value of money means that the value of money now is worth more than a rupee in future. So the relationship between the value of money now and the value of the money tomorrow is known as time value of money. Next is ratio analysis. This is the second mode of analysis. First one was simple interest and compound interest, and now this is the second mode of analysis, that is ratio analysis. Now before going for ratio analysis, let us try to understand the meaning of ratio analysis. As I told you, as I explained you before, after starting this video, immediately I explained you two terms: financial statement and analysis of financial statement. So ratio analysis have a direct relationship with the financial statement analysis. Why? Because what is ratio analysis? Ratio analysis is nothing but one such tool of analyzing the financial statement that is used to extract the financial information from the financial statement of the company. So in short, in other words, we can say ratio analysis is one such tool which helps us to understand, which helps us to read the financial information from the financial statement of the company. It is one such tool which helps us to read. Everyone cannot read the financial statement of the company. Only the expert persons like CA, ICWS, CS can read these financial statements. And how they read these statement? They read this statement through tools, various tools. There are various other tools also: comparative balance sheet, comparative income statement, common size income statement, common size balance sheet. But just ignore them because that is not in our syllabus. What we need to concentrate here is ratio analysis. So ratio analysis is one such tool which helps the experts to extract the financial information from the financial statements of the company. Now ratio analysis, there are various kinds of ratios, and these ratios are classified into three categories as I have tried to show it you in the mind map. Basically these ratio analysis are classified into four categories, but in our curriculum we have to study only three ratios. These are liquidity ratios, activity turnover ratios, also known as efficiency turnover ratios, and profitability ratios. There is one more ratio called solvency ratios, but that is not in our syllabus. So we have to focus only on these three ratios only: liquidity ratios, activity turnover ratios or efficiency turnover ratios, and third one is profitability ratios. Now let's come to first ratios, that is liquidity ratios. Now liquidity ratios are further subclassified into two categories, that is current ratio and quick ratios. Now what is current ratio? Current ratio is a ratio. The formula for calculating current ratio, simple formula is current assets over current liabilities. Now for calculating current ratios, you must know which are our current assets and which are our current liabilities. So because the formula for current ratio is current assets over current liabilities, therefore you must know which are our current assets and which are our current liabilities. Now I will give you few examples of current assets. Current assets are cash, stock, debtors, bill receivable. These are few examples of prepaid expenses also. These are few examples of current assets. Again I am repeating: cash, stock, debtors, bill receivable, prepaid expenses, accrued income, and so on. And some examples of current liabilities are creditors, bill payable, outstanding expenses, bank overdraft, and so on. So you will add all the current assets which are given to you in the question. Then you will add all current liabilities which are given to you in the question. Then divide these current assets with the current liabilities. So this is how you will calculate current ratio. And what is current ratio? Current ratio is nothing, is just an explanation of the formula. It establishes a relationship between current assets and current liabilities. Next is quick ratio. The formula for calculating quick ratio is quick assets over current liabilities. Now, what are quick assets? Quick assets is equal to current assets, all the current assets minus stock minus prepaid expenses. It means current assets and quick assets are same. The only difference between current assets and quick assets is that current assets include all current assets, but quick assets is equal to all current assets minus stock and prepaid expenses. I hope it's clear to you now. And over current liabilities. Current liability, I already told you which are our current liabilities: creditors, bill payable, bank overdraft, then outstanding expenses, and so on. So you will add all the quick assets, divide, then add all the current liabilities which are given to you in the question, then divide these quick assets with current liabilities. You will be able to calculate quick ratio. If anyone asks you the definition or what is quick ratio, again you will explain from the formula. Quick ratio is a ratio which establishes a relationship between quick assets and current liabilities. Next, second type of ratio is activity turnover ratios, which is also known as efficiency turnover ratios. Now, in activity ratios, first of all, we will discuss about stock turnover ratios. Stock turnover ratio is the ratio that establishes relationship between cost of goods sold and average stock. Now, formula for stock turnover ratio is cost of goods sold upon average stock. Cost of goods sold formula is, note down, opening stock, because I have not shown it in the video. You can note down, formula for cost of goods sold is equal to opening stock plus purchases plus direct expenses minus closing stock. Again I am repeating, cost of goods sold is equal to opening stock plus purchases plus direct expenses minus closing stock. And formula for average stock is, again I have not shown you in the video, so note it down. Average stock is equal to opening stock plus closing stock over 2. Opening stock plus closing stock over 2. Next ratio is debtor turnover ratio. Now the formula for calculating debtor turnover ratio is net credit sales upon average debtors. Net credit sales upon average debtors. Formula for calculating net credit sale is total sale minus sales return, total sales minus sales return minus cash sale. Total sales minus sales return minus cash sale will be the formula of DTR, debtor turnover ratio. And formula for average debtor is same again, just like average stock we have calculated. Average debtors, opening debtor plus closing debtors over 2. Now what are opening and closing debtors or opening and closing stock? Opening debtors are the debtors which are there at the very beginning of the year. Our year begins on 1st April. Now whatever the amount of debtors are there on 1st April, that we will count it as opening debtors. and the debtors which are there at the end of the year, that is 31st March. The amount of debtors which are there at the end of 31st March, that we will be counted as closing debtors. Same is with closing stock and opening stock also. Next is creditor turnover ratio. Now the formula for creditor turnover ratio is net credit purchases upon average creditors. Net credit purchases upon average creditors. Formula for net credit purchases is equal to total purchases minus purchase return minus cash purchases. Net credit purchases is equal to total purchases minus purchase return minus cash purchases. That will come as net credit purchases. And average creditors, same again, opening creditors plus closing creditors over 2. If anyone asks you the definition for creditor turnover ratio, then you will say it is a ratio that establishes relationship between the net credit purchases and average creditors. The definitions are all extracted from the formulas itself. The next is profitability ratios. Now profitability ratios are further classified into 2 categories: gross profit ratio and net profit ratio. Gross profit ratio is the ratio that establishes relationship between gross profit and net sales. Gross profit we obtain from trading account. Formula for gross profit ratio is gross profit upon net sale into 100. Second is net profit ratio. Now net profit ratio is the ratio which establishes a relationship between net profit and net sales. Net profit we obtain from P&L account. Gross profit we obtain from trading account. Net profit we obtain from P&L account. So if anyone asks you the difference between gross profit and net profit, so the very first difference is gross profit we obtain from trading account and net profit we obtain from P&L account. So formula for net profit ratio is net profit upon net sales into 100. So these are some ratios which you need to calculate. Practical questions will come from this chapter of 6 marks, where you need to calculate at least 3 ratios. A question will be provided to you in the exam where 4 or 5 ratios are given. Internal choice generally comes in the question from this chapter. You will be provided with 4 to 5 ratios, and out of them you need to calculate at least 3 ratios. Each ratio will be of 2 marks. So generally a 6 marks question comes from this chapter. A practical question comes from this chapter. So formulas I have already told you. So once again you must go through this video and note down all the formulas, because until and unless you don't know the formulas, you will not be able to attempt the practical question from this chapter. So try to go through all the formulas. Firstly, you must go through the various ratios. The ratios are classified into 3 types: liquidity, activity turnover, and then profitability ratio. Then these 3 ratios are sub-classified into various more categories. So at least there are 10 to 12 ratios which you need to calculate. So go through the formulas of all these ratios, and only then you will be able to attempt the question from this chapter. That's all from my side. If you have any queries regarding any point, feel free to contact me. Thank you. Have a good day.